The story continues as Rick, Orc, and Rhea arrive in the bustling kingdom of Heratopia. Orc shares the legendary tale of the first King Alexander, who began with nothing but a small arena and his bare fists. With a jaw-dropping 10 seasons and win streak, Alexander's raw power attracted fighters and spectators from across the globe, transforming Heratopia from a fledgling kingdom into a thriving hub of martial arts. Orc's eyes gleam with anticipation, eager to witness the kingdom's elite fighters in action. But first, he's determined to hunt down the 6 grand orbs thereafter. As they seek directions, the locals' reactions to Orc are less than welcoming, but they're soon distracted by a commotion involving a cat girl named Millie and a bald thug named Gold. Rick steps in to help, but Orc, flexing his muscles and oozing confidence, handles the situation with a swift and decisive beatdown. The defeated thug, now compliant, introduces himself with an awkward bow, confirming that the orb they seek is embedded in the belt of Kelvin, the reigning champion of the Fist King tournament. Rick and Orc exchange impressed glances at the mention of Kelvin's impressive undefeated streak. Gold and Millie are anxious as they confirm the orb's location. Kelvin, mistaking Rick for a fan, quickly realizes he's up against a worthy opponent. However, Kelvin's hesitation to part with his prized belt leads him to challenge Orc to the tournament. Orc accepts the challenge, opting to first conquer the East and West regional tournaments. Rick and Rhea head west while Orc sets off for the Eastern qualifiers in a lavish carriage with Gold. Rick's first challenge is a selection test, where his opponent, Angelica the bratty knight from their previous encounter, looks confident, but quickly realizes she's outclassed. Despite her frustration, she bows out gracefully, letting Rick advance to the Western qualifiers. Later, Angelica, still miffed, confronts Rick in a tearful showdown. To lift her spirits, Rick invites her to dinner at Millie's family inn. Millie, clearly disappointed by Orc's absence, listens as Angelica warns Rick that the Fist King tournament is no cakewalk. It requires at least 40 matches, typically stretching over 6 months. The following day at the qualifiers, Rick is warned about his upcoming opponent, known for using prohibited weapons. Despite thorough checks, the opponent, a crooked fighter wielding an impact stone that amplifies his punches, attempts to blind Rick with his coat and strike him. However, Rick, unimpressed, easily dodges the attack, letting the crook injure himself. Rick then nonchalantly uses a shockwave punch to knock him out without breaking a sweat. Rick wins his first match and gears up for the remaining 39. Angelica faces a karate practitioner next. With a dazzling display of her blink step and a swift back kick, she clinches victory by throwing her opponent into a wall. Outside the arena, Rick congratulates Angelica for qualifying after beating all 40 opponents. Angelica is astounded and warns Rick of the grueling challenge ahead. Unperturbed, Rick quips about his next arena being a mere 30 kilometers away and takes off at lightning speed, leaving Angelica wide-eyed. Rhea and Angelica travel via rooftop leaps to the next arena, arriving just in time to witness Rick's victory. Rick breezes through his remaining fights, employing shockwaves and super speed to outmaneuver his opponents. After 4 days of relentless matches, Rick's victory streak amazes Angelica, who is relieved he's not in her block. Rhea mentions Rick's formidable trainer, Orc, and Angelica realizes she's up against an elite fighter group. She asks about Rick's whereabouts, only to learn he's out on a 600 kilometers jog, which seems like a stroll to Rhea. That evening, Rick meets Snape, the Lizard Man chairman of the West League Committee. Snape congratulates Rick on setting a record and warns him about potential shady dealings. Puzzled, Rick heads to Millie's restaurant, where she warns him about Snape's unsavory connections. Overhearing gossip about a dark elf bunny girl, a description that fits Rhea, Rick rushes to the stadium, finding Rhea and Angelica in bunny costumes promoting gambling. Rick is taken aback by Rhea's costume and questions the gambling promotion. Back at the gym, Discount Nick Fury reads about Orc's astonishing feat of 40 wins in just 2 days. as Kelvin excitedly shares the story of Rick winning 40 bouts in 4 days, a remarkable feat. It brings back memories for his mentor. Reflects on how he found Kelvin in a shady town and offered him a shot at a better life through gladiatorial arenas. The next morning, as Rick, Rhea, and Angelica sit down for breakfast, Angelica grows tense when Rick mentions Snape. She becomes visibly stressed but avoids elaborating. During the first main match, Angelica faces off against Sam Sewell's sister, pushing through her strain to secure a win with a powerful kick. Rick, in his match, faces a wind magic user. Despite the opponent's magical efforts, Rick swiftly evades and dispatches him with a barely there karate chop. Matches proceed swiftly, with both Rick and Angelica advancing. By evening, Angelica, exhausted from the day's fights, is skeptical about her next opponent. Rick offers to train her, and Angelica, though hopeful, is wary. Later, Angelica's match kicks off against a human bulldozer. She's faster, but her attacks barely make a dent. Desperate, she tries some magic water prison, lightning strike, but the big guy's still standing, taunting her. Out of gas, she's quickly knocked out. Afterward, Rick finds her and suggests she was too hasty. Grudgingly, Angelica spills the tea. Her parents died, leaving her and her siblings broke. Grandpa made a shady deal, trading her engagement to Snape for some quick cash. Now Snape's rigging the tournament to make bank, and Angelica entered to stop him. As they investigate a commotion in a tavern, they find Jeeth, a red lizard man, choking a waitress. The large man who previously defeated Angelica tries to intervene, but is overpowered by Jeeth. Angelica, despite the danger, steps up, but Rick intervenes. Snape arrives, explaining Jeeth's temper and promising to make amends. Angelica suspects Snape of match-fixing and manipulating the tournament for profit. She reveals her motive to defeat Snape's fighter and expose his scheme. Rick offers to train her for the upcoming matches, leaving her with a glimmer of hope amid the mounting challenges. If you enjoyed this legendary tale, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and give us a thumbs up. Your support helps keep the stories coming and the arena bustling.